Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Sleep, member of Memes and Dreams and Quantum of RoboCraft, talking to you. You probably would have expected this video by now, but I was holding out. It is 2:20 p.m. Central whenever I started this recording. I was holding out for maybe some RoboCraft update news, because it's been almost 3 weeks since we had our last one. We didn't even get like a feedback poll on this one, so I'm just going to go through what I think should happen. Maybe the devs will listen. Maybe it'll find this. If they do, hi. Been making these for a little bit. Don't know if you've heard my warnings, but I've given them, and now it's time for me to give some more. So, let's go through weapon balance real quick. I'm doing this all off the cuff, by the way. The strongest weapon in the game is not even a weapon that does damage. That is Nano. Nano is absurdly strong. It outpaces M.a.s.h and out-heals the damage that M.a.s.h can do. That gun, that weapon, needs to be brought in line. And it needs to be brought in line hard because you didn't go about doing it the way I had warned you guys to do it. I had warned that buffing it in terms of healing per shot and decreasing the amount of energy it uses was going to get you at this point. And we're here. And it's atrocious. Solo play is disastrous to play right now. I have never, in my experience playing RoboCraft, seen a worse time to be playing alone than right now with how strong Nano is and with how weak the all-purpose gun, the M.a.s.h is in comparison. Alright, next, we have Mortar. I do think that Mortar is really strong, but I don't think it's very strong in competitive play. Let me explain why, because in this way, I can tell you why I believe what I believe about Mortar balance. Mortar's really good for blowing up ground. It's very good for denying an area of the map. But what it's bad at is getting teams to react to you if they're not forced to the ground. That's why Mortar is not a weapon that can ever be used alone. You always need a companion weapon. That's why most of the time you pair it with Flak. It's an okay combination. Personally, I prefer SMG in Mortar because SMG is the best all-around gun in every situation. You're never going to say, oh god, we have an SMG, but you will say that if you're playing against all helis and you have a Mortar bot. That kind of thing. But in casuals and like regular queue, not 5v5 custom clan fights, Mortar is very, very good. It probably is too good. Like, ground is unplayable regardless because of how strong Plasma still is, but I wouldn't change Plasma. We're on Mortar right now. And I'd say for that purpose, bring the damage down a little bit, or, and this is what I think should happen, and this would make it much more in line with everything else, give it the rail treatment, where with Mega Rail, you just increase the time between each shot. Do that with Mortar. Because right now, Mortar's a spam weapon. It's too good to be a spam weapon. It shouldn't have that capability, but that's what it is. So I would say bring its damage down a little bit, 5-10%, and bring back or reduce the fire rate. Increase time between shots. Try to do it in the increment you did with Rails. So that'd be 0.1 seconds. Increase time between shots, and see how it feels from there. Okay, moving on now to Plasma, the other weapon that makes ground unplayable. And my god, Plasma is perfectly fine. There's only a couple things you could potentially do to make it better, and that's quality of life stuff. So you could speed up how many its shots, speed up its burst, make it dump all of its energy faster. And to do that, I would say you need to reduce the damage a little bit, because the burst that's gonna hit will hit harder, like it'll be more impactful, but it shouldn't do so in a way that's detrimental. So I would say you could make it shoot faster, maybe give it, keep its current damage, make it shoot faster, but increase the projectiles. So right now, let's say you get 100,000 damage for every, I don't know, let's say 5 shots, right? That's probably close to accurate. Let's say instead of doing that, and you shoot those shots in about 0.8 seconds, okay? Instead of that, let's say you do 100,000 damage in 7 shots, and you shoot those 7 shots in 0.7 seconds. That's the only thing I'd really do with Plasma. That's about it. Alright, moving on to SMG. SMG is okay. It's still the most necessary gun aside from Nano. Like, you can throw together almost every other, and especially in a competitive sense, you can throw together almost every other type of gun with SMG, and it'll be viable as long as you have SMG. I know Mark hated SMG, but Mark's no longer working on RoboCraft. He's working on RoboCraft Experimental. So, Chris, you're the community manager. I assume you're somehow going to find this video. You've been in contact with Xanth. I talk to Xanth all the time. But here's what you do with SMG. Make it more rewarding at longer range in the air to burst fire than to just hold down the trigger. Right now, there's no incentive for burst firing. You have the same amount of accuracy if you just let it rip that you did if you just burst fired before. That shouldn't be a thing. So, if you're gonna do anything to SMG, which right now SMG's in a pretty good spot, don't really change anything aside from the in-air accuracy. I think that's just the stupidest thing. Ever since you introduced that, it's been the stupidest thing to me. I would get rid of that entirely. I don't know if you ever will. I would. I think it detracts from the game. It doesn't add to it. But that's just my opinion, right? I'm a filthy meta player. Moving on then to Ion. Ion's bad. Ion's bad. I think it's only really considered bad because of just how good Mortar is. Like, they serve the same purpose, which is, hey, you're within like 5 feet of me, and you're most likely on the ground. I'm gonna make you not exist anymore. Mortar does that, and Mortar does it better. Can do it from further away. And yeah, it's just Mortar's, I think, better than Ion. And Ion was supposed to be the bursty, like really close quarters, I'm gonna like blow you up in 4 or 5 shots type deal. And it was that. And then we nerfed it to hell. And now we have this crappy pea shooter. You need to increase the damage. You need to probably decrease its energy usage and maybe make it shoot a tiny bit faster. Be very careful with the fire rate of Ion. But right now it just doesn't seem to pack enough punch to really be useful, at least from the games that I've played that have had an Ion in it. Alright, next on the list is Chain Gun. Chain is actually very okay. That one buff that happened to Chain was a very good buff. The only thing I have to say about Chain is that the damage per shot might be able to go up a tiny bit, like 2-3%. Not 5-10, like 2 to 3. Right now, it hurts a little bit, especially when it's leveled up. It can hurt a little bit, but it's not this all-powerful, all-destroying gun. I think that's good. I don't want to live in a world where Chain is dominating everything anymore. Like, I'm glad we moved past that phase when it did exist, but Chain is fine. I wouldn't really touch Chain. I think that Chain's in a very good spot. Tesla is not in a good spot. Tesla sucks. I got a lot of hate. I wouldn't say hate. A lot of people who disagreed with me. A lot of discontent in my comments whenever I said that Tesla was a bad weapon. Let me clarify this right here. Tesla is a bad weapon because it forces you to put yourself out of position. And in a competitive sense, because I'm a somewhat competitive player, right? I'm on Quantum. Everyone knows the name of Quantum. I'm not one of the A-team players, but I'm a very prominent member, I would say, in that clan. Quantum has very, very seldom been destroyed or lost matches because of a very good Tesla player. And the reason for that is because Tesla is very noticeable because you almost always pair it with Ghost. So there's an audio cue. And this is the other thing, you're almost always trading. And whenever you trade 1-for-1, assuming you even get the kill, a lot of times you won't even get to somebody, assuming you even get the kill. If you trade 1-for-1, your team must win without you. You must at least have a 1-kill lead for it to ever be effective. And there are a few Tesla players, right? Guy-Hor is the most notable exception, who are phenomenal with a Tesla bot. It's like with Lommel, how, the depths. is a very good Lommel player, despite the weapon itself being pretty lackluster. There are some players who can make it work, but Tesla itself is a bad weapon as a whole in a competitive sense. Against people in like solo queue, go for it. You'll kill people all day. But against like competitive players who are in a platoon, it's never really going to win a match. I hate to say that to you, but it's true. I know you Tesla players really like Tesla, but Tesla's not good. And the only reason Tesla's not that good right now is because all the bot types that can use it are slow. So if you want Tesla to be good, you need drones to come back. And until drones come back, I don't think there's really a way to fix Tesla. Alright, moving to Lommel. So we just talked about the depths from Lommel, right? He's part of Ronin's. Lommel is a very weird weapon. I think the only real way to fix it, to make it better, would be to increase the, to make it not miss as much as it does, would be to increase the turning speed of the rockets. That's it. Like, decrease your server latency so we stop getting hit through walls, and that we actually break sight whenever we break line of sight, because that's annoying. But other than that, like, just increase the rocket's turn rate, and you'll be fine. Lommel will be fine. Weapon hits hard enough. It doesn't need a damage buff. It doesn't hit too hard. It doesn't need a nerf. It's just Lommel. Same thing goes, like, Proto Seeker's different than Lommel. A Proto Seeker's also a tier 3 weapon, so it's very weird to try to rank it. I think Proto Seeker's okay. I just think that it's not very good. But that's because it's an aim assist SMG that doesn't do as much as SMG. Rail. Right, I almost forgot Rail. Rail. So Rail is in a good spot. Not a great spot. It's still usable. It's not dominant. Rail is probably I'd say Rail is very balanced at the moment. It's no longer a rail fest like it used to be. There was a time not too long ago where you would have 3 or 4 mega rails in every match, and it was hell to try to play against that. But now Rail has been brought in line. I think Rail's in a very good spot. I think the overall meta for Robocraft, aside from Nano being very, very good, is in a very good spot. I don't think there's anything that's too outrageously strong other than Nano that needs to be brought back in line. I think everything's kind of good. In a competitive sense, though, you're not really going to see more than Nano, SMG, Plasma, Rail. You might see a Mortar Flak. That's really the competitive spirit right now. That's what I'm seeing from other Quantum members. That's what I'm seeing in other 5v5s that we've had. There's not really a whole lot other than that, and that's normal. It's been that way since like mid 2018, I want to say, after I came back from the summer. It's been like that since like the fall, early fall, like August. We've just had SMG, Nano, Plasma, Rail, sometimes Mortar and Flak. Flak is dumb. Let's talk about Flak now. Flak is just stupid. I despise Flak because it ruined aircraft for everyone who's not a heli or doesn't know how to play like flyers normally, and that's kind of a problem. So Flak, all it does is make bad flyers worse and good flyers better. And what I mean by that is, every time you see a Flak on the enemy team, every time I do at least, you never fly out in the open anyway, because it's just bad practice. But that just means you hug cover more. And whenever you hug cover more, there are a couple things that can happen. If they have an air plasma, you might get, like, popped. If they have a mortar, you might get popped. But that Flak will probably never pop you. And all it'll do is increase your, what's typical anyway, peek and shoot game, which no one really likes to play against. Flak encourages that play. That's because Flak, whenever you do peek out, you might get 1 Flak stack. Maybe 1. Maybe 2 if you get caught on a rock. You know, I've had that happen. I'm notorious for flipping my bots, after all. But Flak has never been this very punishing for peeking kind of weapon. And I think that it just doesn't really serve a purpose other than to punish people for being very bad. And I mean, I'm all for punishing bad play. Like, that's why I like TDM over Battle Arena, because TDM's much harsher on a single mistake. Battle Arena is more forgiving. But I will say Flak is just stupid. I am going to call out one player. We have a screenshot of... yeah. He did this with Flak. If you know this player, I'm not sorry. This player is known for not being very good. And this is Flak. But I don't think Flak is good at all. I think that Flak is good against bad players. And in RoboCraft, you have a lot of bad players. But that's gonna about wrap up the weapon portion. How long are we going? Oh, we're going long. This is gonna be a long video. Now we're gonna go on to movement. Everything that's not called a hover blade or a rotor or a mech leg kind of sucks booty. Like, it still sucks booty. Wheels still suck. Plasma and mortar are too strong. Insect legs, they suck. They're not loss. They're not loss tolerant. They can't handle losing parts of them very well. Even hovers kind of suck. They're really, really flippy. Mech legs, still okay. Like, mech legs are the best ground type movement. Helis. People hate the heli meta. Look, dude, heli meta only happened because you took away drone meta. And whenever you take away heli meta, what do you think is going to happen? Like, genuinely, what do you think is going to happen? You think meta's just going to die? No, there'll be a new meta. We'll find it. It'll probably be mechs with hovers inside, or it might just be straight up hovers, or it might be, you know, mechcopters, because the purpose of a mechcopter was always just to get to a higher point. Like, you're not gonna kill it. Meta will always find a way. Right now, the hate of meta is just being thrown at helis. Yeah. I had someone ask in a comment to do a module tier list. There's only like 2 modules that are really worth using. 3 if you can somehow pull it off. And there's one module that's a necessity at tier 5. You will see it. If I had to do a tier list, well, we lost focus. Come back. There we go. If I had to do a tier list of it, this would easily be the only S tier one. That's energy mod. It's required in tier 5. You just don't have enough power. And I know I get a lot of flack when people watch my gameplay. I say I hold on to my power mod too much. I hold on to it in case I need it. If I'm just poking somebody, I really don't think I need to pop my power mod every time it's off cooldown. Especially if there's no real potential to kill. I know people say, well, you could make potential to kill. I could. Or I could save it, because more often than not I'm rocking a side nano, and someone might need to be healed. But yeah, that would be the only S tier one. A tier would probably be DSM. The disc shield module. It's still good. It's not great. It's never really been phenomenal, other than whenever Nano was garbage, and you saw people running Mega SMG or Mega Rail with Energy Mod and DSM, because auto regen, waiting that 10 seconds, was more efficient than having an actual Nano, that was a weird time in RC. Then the last one would be EMP. EMP's great for flushing people out of spots. That's about it. You might catch 1 or 2 people in it. And if you catch 1 or 2 people, you know, that might be 1 or 2 kills. But it's really only good for moving people off a spot. And it does take up a loadout spot. So it's a really, really interesting module. It's the one I think has the most potential upside, but it also has a lot of downside. And then Ghost. Ghost is bad. Ghost tells everybody where you are. Like, they can hear you coming. It doesn't make you really harder to detect. It just makes it kind of more annoying, because all I'm looking at is some active camo from Halo 2. Window Maker. Don't even talk about Window Maker. What else is there to talk about? Right? Everyone knows compact cubes or TX cubes are the best cubes because of F equals MA. At least in tier 5, everyone's building almost exclusively out of them. You have a couple bots that are being made out of just regular cubes. Usually those are hovers, or you have some bots that are being accented with light cubes. Mainly that's because of CPU restraints and they just want to finish up armoring a bot. But typically you want to be very, very nimble in tier 5, and compact cubes let you do that without sacrificing too much HP. What else do we have? Electroplates. Electroplates are very weird. I've fallen out of favor and out of love with electroplates after using them for, you know, almost 3 weeks exclusively on my designs. I think that they're not worth it. They take too long to heal, especially with a nano, and they take a long time to heal with auto regen as well. And they just don't offer a whole lot. You're kind of really fragile. And most of the time it's like an eggshell. Once you crack the EP shell off, the inside's all squishy and it falls apart very, very quick. So EPs can be used okay. And in lower tiers where you can't use compact cubes, I would say that electroplates are pretty good. Electroplates would probably be the premier armoring thing. Sorry, I'm gonna see me keep looking over here. Looking over here because that's where the recording is, and I keep seeing weird things. It's mostly my face. It freaks me out. I'm sorry. Well, that'll about do it for me here. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you think. Let me know if I missed something. I might have. I did this all in a hurry after all. I was holding out for some RoboCraft news. You know, it's been 3 weeks. Typically, we get a word in 3 weeks about the next patch. Nothing. Radio silence, man. So, maybe it's on Steam. I don't know. I checked RoboCraft official, their webpage, and I checked their Twitter, and I didn't see anything. But if you're new, please do consider subscribing. If you didn't see it on my Twitter, I did open up the Memes and Dreams Discord. There will be a link to that down below. Drop in, say hi, talk to us. I'm usually hanging out around there. And that's the end of all of that. I will catch you guys tomorrow for some Killing Floor 2. Take care.